They were sharp, dysfunctional, and trading insults in a beachfront mansion, and that was exactly what made Two and a Half Men the defining sitcom juggernaut of its era. We laughed at the endless bachelor shenanigans, cringed at the family toxicity, and watched a revolving door of Hollywood's most gorgeous and hilarious guest stars get pulled into Malibu's chaotic orbit. But decades after that famous theme song first hit the airwaves, those faces carry a completely different weight. Some became the center of historic, jaw-dropping media storms. Some quietly built acclaimed prestige careers, and others walked away from the spotlight entirely to find peace outside the sitcom grind. Tonight we return to the deck in Malibu, where the real shock is not the crazy dating lives they led, but how time, reinvention, and reality rewrote their scripts after the laughter faded. Charlie Harper is the wealthy, hedonistic jingle writer whose life is a seamless loop of silk bowling shirts, expensive alcohol, and a relentless parade of women, until his brother moves in and crashes the party. Charlie Sheen. Born September 3, 1965, was 38 when the show premiered in 2003, and he brought a blurred-line, charismatic bad boy energy that made the character an instant pop culture icon. Charlie is unapologetic, deeply cynical, and somehow fiercely protective of his easy lifestyle, coasting through life with a glass in hand and a witty retort ready. What made him unforgettable was the effortless lived-in swagger he gave the role, making a deeply flawed, self-destructive playboy completely magnetic to millions of viewers. In 2026, Sheen turns 61, his life and career forever altered by his highly publicized explosive exit from the show in 2011 that became one of the most chaotic media spectacles in television history. Before his era-defining run in Malibu, he was a massive cinematic leading man in dramatic masterpieces like Platoon and Wall Street, before pivoting beautifully to comedy in Spin City and the Hot Shots franchise. His post-Malibu years were defined by his public health battles, a brief return to television in anger management, and a long, focused journey toward sobriety and rebuilding his personal life away from the toxic tabloid glare. Charlie Harper endures because Charlie Sheen made unapologetic debauchery look incredibly funny, charming, and dangerously easy to maintain. Walden Schmidt is the lovesick billionaire internet tycoon who buys the Malibu beach house to mend his broken heart, bringing a naive, boyish vulnerability to a household built on cynicism. Ashton Kutcher, born February 7, 1978, was 33 when he stepped into the high-stakes pressure cooker role of replacing the show's original lead in 2011, injecting a completely fresh, energetic dynamic into the veteran sitcom. Walden is sweet, physically imposing, yet emotionally fragile, and constantly searching for a genuine connection in a town obsessed with superficial glamour. Kutcher played him with a bright, earnest charm that allowed the show to pivot from dark bachelor satire into a lighter buddy comedy era for its final seasons. In 2026, Kutcher turns 48, having masterfully transitioned from a Hollywood heartthrob into a highly respected venture capitalist, tech investor, and dedicated philanthropist. Long before entering the Malibu house, he had achieved major television fame on That 70s Show, created the cultural prank phenomenon, punked and starred in hit films like The Butterfly Effect and No Strings Attached. Together with his wife, Mila Kunis, he has raised tens of millions for humanitarian causes while quietly backing some of the world's most successful tech startups. Walden Schmidt endures because Ashton Kutcher made billionaire tech genius status feel incredibly goofy, sweet, and desperately human. Missy is the hyperactive, fast-talking country girl who sweeps into Malibu for a brief weekend, driving Jake crazy with her relentless chatter and undeniable small-town charm. Miley Cyrus, born November 23, 1992, was just 19 when she made her memorable guest appearance in 2012 using the sitcom stage to signal a bold, energetic break from her wholesome child star persona. Missy is loud, fiercely independent, and completely oblivious to the romantic chaos she leaves in her wake, chatting at 1,000,000 miles an hour while casually disrupting the beach house routine. Cyrus brought a colorful, high-octane comedic energy to the set, proving she could hold her own against seasoned sitcom veterans with absolute ease. In 2026, Cyrus turns 34, standing at the absolute peak of global musical superstardom after a spectacular genre-defying career reinvention that earned her massive Grammy acclaim. Emerging from the shadow of her massive Disney phenomenon, Hannah Montana, she evolved into a fierce, gravelly-voiced rock and pop icon dominating world charts with definitive anthems like Wrecking Ball and Flowers. Her highly public evolution, daring creative shifts, and raw artistic honesty made her one of the most compelling and heavily discussed musical forces of the 21st century. Missy endures because Miley Cyrus turned a brief weekend visit into a loud, unforgettable explosion of pure Southern charm. Alan Harper is the chronically insecure, tightly wound chiropractor whose desperate bad luck and permanent freeloading turn him into the ultimate cosmic punching bag of Malibu. Jon Cryer, born April 16, 1965, was 38 when the show launched in 2003, and he delivered a masterclass in physical comedy and neurosis that earned him 2 historic Emmy Awards across 2 different categories. Alan is cheap, neurotic, and deeply resentful of his brother's effortless success, yet he possesses an absolute, cockroach-like survival instinct that keeps him anchored in the beach house no matter how many times he is thrown out. Cryer's brilliant timing made Alan's constant desperation feel deeply hysterical rather than pathetic. In 2026, Cryer turns 61, his enduring career standing as a testament to absolute professionalism and incredible versatility in an industry that easily typecasts actors. Decades before becoming TV's ultimate moocher, he won the hearts of a generation as the iconic, eccentric Ducky in the John Hughes classic Pretty in Pink, before later showcasing his dramatic range as the villainous Lex Luthor in the Arrowverse. He has remained a highly sought-after television star, theater performer, and author universally respected by peers for anchoring a chaotic mega-hit show with total grace. Alan Harper endures because Jon Cryer made spectacular, relentless failure feel deeply sympathetic and legendary. Evelyn Harper is the cold, fiercely narcissistic real estate mogul whose terrifying maternal presence sends her sons fleeing in panic, treating motherhood like a transactional business deal. Holland Taylor, born January 14, 1943, was 60 when she first unleashed her razor-sharp wit upon the Malibu house, giving Evelyn a glamorous, venomous sophistication that stole every single scene. Evelyn is vain wealthy and completely unapologetic about her preference for high-end cocktails and wealthy ex-husbands over actual maternal warmth. Taylor played her with a magnificent theatrical elite poise, delivering devastating, soul-crushing insults with the casual ease of a queen ordering tea. In 2026, Taylor turns 83, continuing to enjoy a deeply rich, highly acclaimed Twilight chapter as one of American theater and television's most revered matriarchs. Her legendary career spans decades, from her early comedic brilliance in Bosom Buddies and an Emmy-winning run on The Practice to powerful, acclaimed dramatic turns in The Truman Show and The Morning Show. Her deeply public, inspiring real-life relationship with actress Sarah Paulson has also become a beautiful symbol of enduring Hollywood romance. Evelyn Harper endures because Holland Taylor made toxic high-society maternal neglect look breathtakingly stylish and hilariously cruel. Prudence is the rebellious, jaw-droppingly gorgeous granddaughter of Berta, who arrives at the beach house to help clean, instantly reducing Charlie, Allen, and Jake to a state of bumbling, drooling, romantic panic. Megan Fox, born May 16, 1986, was just 17 when she filmed her sultry guest spot in 2004, showcasing the magnetic screen-stopping allure that would soon make her a global superstar. Prudence is tough, completely unimpressed by Charlie's wealth, and fully aware of the sheer chaos her presence inflicts on the helpless men around her. Fox brought a sharp, deadpan comedic timing to the barracks of Malibu, proving her early instincts for subverting expectations. In 2026, Fox turns 40, having lived through decades of intense, relentless global media scrutiny as one of the ultimate pop culture beauty icons of the 2000s. Shortly after her Malibu visit, she achieved explosive, massive box office stardom in Michael Bay's Transformers franchise and built a permanent cult horror legacy in the acclaimed Jennifer's Body. Her later years saw her emerge as a prominent author fashion icon and a voice speaking out candidly about the intense Hollywood hypersexualization she navigated as a young actress. Prudence endures because Megan Fox made youthful absolute confidence look utterly effortless and hilariously disruptive. Judith Harper Melnick is Alan's icy, perpetually frustrated ex-wife who manages to fund a luxurious lifestyle entirely out of alimony checks, treating her ex-husband with a masterclass in passive-aggressive disdain. Maren Hinkle, born March 23, 1966, was 37 when the series began in 2003, and she gave Judith a rigid, high-strung intensity that made her the perfect domestic foil to the loose bachelor lifestyle of Malibu. Judith is anxious, highly critical, and deeply volatile, constantly using Alan's endless failures as fuel for her own righteous anger while trying to raise Jake away from Charlie's bad influence. Hinkle played her with a brilliant eye-rolling precision that made her predictable rage an essential comedic anchor. In 2026, Hinkle turned 60, her post-Malibu career defined by a spectacular, critically acclaimed reinvention on prestige television that showcased her profound, dramatic, and comedic depth. After years of navigating the broad sitcom world, she earned massive praise and multiple Emmy nominations as Rose Weissman, the elegant, neurotic mother in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She has remained a highly respected force across theater-independent film and top-tier television drama, proving her vast creative range outside the traditional multi-camera format. Judith Harper endures because Maren Hinkle made bitter ex-marital frustration feel sharply authentic and wonderfully entertaining. Vivian is the beautiful, free-spirited backpacker who arrives at the beach house during a rainstorm, instantly capturing Charlie's heart by being the one woman completely immune to his usual rich boy tricks. Mila Kunis, born August 14, 1983, was 30 when she made her highly anticipated guest appearance in 2014, providing fans with a brilliant metatextual treat due to her real-life romance with star Ashton Kutcher. Vivian is adventurous, earthly, and completely unimpressed by luxury, talking about traveling the world while casually challenging Walden's sheltered, wealthy worldview. Kunis brought a natural, radiating warmth and sharp comedic ease that lit up the late-season Malibu living room. In 2026, Kunis turns 42, standing as one of Hollywood's most durable, beloved leading ladies and an influential producer behind the scenes. Having grown up in front of the world on That 70s Show and voiced Meg Griffin on Family Guy for decades, she achieved major cinematic stardom in Black Swan, forgetting Sarah Marshall and the massive hit Bad Moms. Her high-profile marriage to Kutcher and their shared, extensive global philanthropic efforts have made them one of the industry's most steady and widely respected power couples. Vivian endures because Mila Kunis made earthly independent confidence look breathtakingly beautiful and hilariously meta. Lindsay McElroy is the volatile, wine-loving mother whose on-again, off-again romance with Alan turns into a toxic, hilarious saga of domestic codependency and terrible life choices. Courtney Thorne Smith, born November 8, 1967, was 42 when she joined the recurring cast in 2010, bringing a grounded, beautifully messy comedic energy that perfectly matched Alan's desperate universe. Lindsay is sarcastic, easily frustrated, and frequently handles her stressful life by drinking too much and engaging in highly questionable romantic decisions with her cheap boyfriend. Thorne Smith excelled at playing the sane woman driven to hilarious madness by the sheer gravity of the Harper family dynamic. In 2026, Thorne Smith turns 58, enjoying a quieter, highly selective television career after decades of being one of primetime television's most recognizable and reliable leading faces. Long before dealing with Alan's cheapness, she was a major pop culture staple of the 1990s and 2000s, starring in Melrose Place Ally McBeal and enjoying an immensely successful run opposite James Belushi in According to Jim. Her transition into a steady, reliable sitcom veteran allowed her to navigate the chaotic final seasons of the show with total professional ease. Lindsay McElroy endures because Courtney Thorne-Smith made long-suffering, wine-fueled romantic desperation look utterly hysterical. Rose is the deceptively sweet, boundary-crossing neighbor whose initial one-night stand with Charlie evolves into an epic 8-year saga of masterful stalking, roof climbing, and absolute obsession. Melanie Lynskey, born May 16, 1977, was 26 when the show premiered in 2003, and she gave Rose a soft, childlike voice and a terrifyingly brilliant intellect that made her the show's most unpredictable secret weapon. Rose is cheerful, insanely wealthy, and completely comfortable using ferrets, homemade tracking devices, or fake marriages to keep Charlie trapped within her sights. Lynskey played her with a gentle, smiling innocence that made her psychotic behavior deeply endearing. In 2026, Lynskey turns 49 her life after the Malibu Beach House, representing one of the most celebrated, triumphant rises to prestige television superstardom in modern Hollywood history. After years of being praised as an indie film darling, she earned massive global acclaim critics awards and multiple Emmy nominations for her towering, complex performance as Shauna in the smash hit Yellow Jackets and a devastating turn in The Last of Us. Her fierce talent, emotional depth, and public advocacy for authentic body representation have made her one of her generation's most revered actresses. Rose endures because Melanie Lynskey made permanent, calculated stalking look hilariously sweet and quietly terrifying. Jake Harper is the lazy, underachieving nephew who grows from a sweet, dim-witted kid eating video game cases into a thoroughly checked-out teenager navigating adulthood with zero ambition. Angus T. Jones, born October 8, 1993, was only 9 years old when the show launched in 2003, literally growing up in front of tens of millions of viewers as the highest-paid child star in television history. Jake is slow, flatulent, and deeply comfortable ignoring his father's frantic lectures, treating the beach house like a permanent luxury couch to watch television from. Jones's perfect deadpan delivery of crude adult humor made him the essential half that anchored the show's title. In 2026, Jones turns 32, living a deeply private spiritual life, completely removed from the Hollywood machinery he walked away from over a decade ago. In 2012, he made global headlines by publicly renouncing the sitcom due to his newfound religious faith, urging viewers to stop watching it and subsequently exiting the main cast. Since leaving the spotlight, he has focused heavily on his education business ventures and independent faith-based initiatives, choosing a path of quiet reflection over celebrity noise. Jake Harper endures because Angus T. Jones made lazy adolescent oblivion feel deeply funny, iconic, and painfully authentic. Berta is the sharp-tongued, fiercely independent housekeeper who treats the wealthy occupants of the beach house with absolute unfiltered contempt, running the mansion like her own personal fiefdom. Conchata Ferrell, born March 28, 1943, was 60 when she first walked into the Malibu living room in 2003, turning what was written as a small part into an indispensable, Emmy-nominated comedic pillar of the entire series. Berta is rough around the edges, fiercely protective of her couch time, and possesses an endless supply of stories about her wild criminal family that instantly silences any complaints from Charlie or Alan. Ferrell's towering physical presence and booming, sarcastic delivery made her the true boss of Malibu. Ferrell died on October 12, 2020, at 77, due to complications following a cardiac arrest, a loss that brought heartfelt, deeply emotional tributes from the entire television industry. Before becoming the definitive sitcom housekeeper, she was a heavily respected, classically trained stage actress who built a legendary character actor resume in network Edward Scissorhands and Erin Brockovich. Her warm, deeply maternal real-life nature stood in beautiful contrast to the cynical, rough-around-the-edges characters she inhabited so effortlessly. Berta endures because Conchata Ferrell made working-class unfiltered sarcasm feel incredibly powerful, loving, and fiercely legendary. Condi is the breathless, mind-bogglingly dim-witted young woman whose innocent beauty leads to a brief, chaotic marriage to a terrified Alan and a short-lived career as a television actress. April Bowlby, born July 30th, 1980, was 25 when she joined the cast in 2005, giving Candy a wide-eyed, sweet-natured oblivion that prevented her lack of intelligence from ever feeling mean-spirited. Candy is sweet, easily distracted by shiny objects, and completely comfortable navigating the cynical Harper world, with a bright, sunny optimism that infuriates Judith. Bowlby played her with a wonderful featherlight comedic timing that made her bizarre logic completely believable. In 2026, Bowlby turns 45, her post-Malibu career highlighted by a fantastic dive into cult Ryan Stiles comic book television that showcased her brilliant capacity for playing unconventional heroes. For years, she won the hearts of sci-fi fans globally as Rita Farr Elasti-Woman in the critically acclaimed DC Universe series Doom Patrol, blending old Hollywood glamour with deep emotional vulnerability. She has remained a steady, beloved figure at fan conventions, embracing her transition from a mainstream sitcom sweetheart into a beloved genre icon. Candy endures because April Bowlby made pure, unadulterated cluelessness look incredibly sweet, funny, and utterly harmless. Dr. Greg Melnick is the wealthy, deeply pretentious pediatrician whose marriage to Judith puts an end to Alan's alimony payments, turning him into an accidental hero to the Harper brothers before his own sanity is tested. Ryan Stiles, born April 22, 1959, was 45 when he brought his tall, lanky physique and masterful deadpan delivery to the recurring cast in 2004. Greg is uptight, easily manipulated, and trying desperately to maintain a dignified, professional image while being slowly driven insane by Judith's volatile temper and Alan's pathetic presence. Stiles excelled at playing a highly intelligent man, realizing too late that he has married into a deeply toxic family dynamic. In 2026, Stiles turns 67, remaining an absolute legendary titan of improvisational comedy whose work has shaped American humor for over 3 decades. Beyond his chaotic visits to Judith's house, he achieved permanent pop culture immortality as a star of Whose Line Is It Anyway, and enjoyed a massive long-running sitcom run as Louis Nichols on The Drew Carey Show. His brilliant physical comedy, legendary quick wit, and dedication to live improv theater have made him an enduring favorite across generations of comedy fans. Dr. Greg Melnick endures because Ryan Stiles made high-strung professional exasperation look deeply deadpan and hilariously brittle. Lisa is the gorgeous, deeply unhinged wedding planner who arrives at the beach house to organize Alan and Candy's big day, only to completely derail the planning by trying to seduce Charlie with an aggressive, predatory charm. Denise Richards, born February 17, 1971, was 35 when she brought her brilliant, self-deprecating comedic energy to the sitcom set in 2006, creating a fun, metatextual nod for fans who were well aware of her high-profile personal connection to the show's star. Lisa is chaotic, unapologetic, and completely comfortable using her professional access to corner Charlie in his own home, turning a routine wedding consultation into a hilarious game of romantic cat and mouse. Richards played the role with a sharp, iron-willed confidence that allowed her to poke fun at her own screen image while matching the show's fast-paced humor beat for beat. In 2026, Richards turns 55, her highly public post-sitcom life remaining deeply tied to reality television, independent cinema, and permanent pop culture nostalgia. Following her definitive era as a 90s icon in Wild Things and Starship Troopers, she navigated years of intense tabloid scrutiny with immense resilience, later joining the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and enjoying a long, successful run on the soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful. Her ability to constantly reinvent herself kept her in the cultural conversation for decades. Lisa endures because Denise Richards made intense predatory romantic complications look incredibly beautiful, frustrating, and fiercely unforgettable. Myra Melnick is Herb's sarcastic, sharp-witted sister who arrives in town for the wedding and immediately engages in a secret, highly cynical fling with Charlie simply because she finds the entire Harper family ridiculous. Judy Greer. Born July 20th, 1975, was 32 when she first brought her brilliant, deadpan comedic timing to the set in 2007 before pulling off a rare sitcom double feat by returning in later seasons as Bridget Walden's neurotic ex-wife. Myra is cynical, highly observant, and completely immune to the emotional drama of the household, treating her time with Charlie like a casual amusement park ride. Greer's incredible knack for stealing scenes with a single look made her appearances absolute fan favorites. In 2026, Greer turns 51, universally revered as one of Hollywood's most prolific, wildly talented, and indispensable character actor chameleons. With a massive filmography crossing hundreds of projects, she became unforgettable in 13. Going on 30, Arrested Development, Archer, the Halloween revival, and major blockbuster franchises like Jurassic World and Marvel's Ant-Man. Her legendary status as the ultimate best friend character actor eventually evolved into a well-deserved leading lady era in independent cinema and television production. Myra and Bridget endure because Judy Greer brought an unmatched razor-sharp wit and neurotic perfection to every character she inhabited. Jenny Harper is Charlie's long-lost illegitimate daughter who arrives on the beach house doorstep looking for her father, only to find Walden living there while inheriting every single one of Charlie's hedonistic traits. Amber Tamblyn. Born May 14, 1983, was 30 when she joined the main cast for the show's final seasons in 2013, bringing a sharp, modern queer energy to a traditionally old-school bachelor pad. Jenny is confident, a heavy drinker, and deeply obsessed with beautiful women, operating as a living mirror to her late father that forces Alan into a state of permanent familiar exhaustion. Tamblyn played her with a gritty, fast-talking swagger that kept the show's original DNA alive. In 2026, Tamblyn turns 43, her creative life having evolved far beyond her early acting roots into that of a highly respected author, poet, director, and prominent feminist activist. Long before playing Charlie's chaotic offspring, she won critical acclaim in Joan of Arcadia, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and earned an Emmy nomination for House. Her transition into literature and behind-the-camera work saw her publish best-selling books, direct independent features, and become a foundational voice in social justice movements within the entertainment industry. Jenny Harper endures because Amber Tamblyn made genetic, chaotic debauchery look incredibly sharp, progressive, and fiercely modern. Linda Freeman is the deadpan, deeply cynical celebrity psychiatrist who charges exorbitant hourly fees just to look at Charlie and Alan with absolute silent judgment, treating their deep family traumas like a steady paycheck. Jane Lynch, born July 14, 1960, was 44 when she first brought her towering presence and clinical detachment to the beach house in 2004, earning an Emmy nomination for her brilliant recurring guest work. Dr. Freeman is entirely unbothered by Charlie's wealth or Alan's whining, delivering devastating psychological diagnoses with the cold routine boredom of a DMV employee. Lynch's magnificent ability to deliver a brutal insult with a pleasant, smiling face made her therapy sessions legendary. In 2026, Lynch turned 66, standing as one of modern television's most celebrated award-winning comedic icons after a dazzling career built on sharp-tongued, unforgettable characters. Shortly after her clinical rounds in Malibu, she achieved global superstardom and won multiple Emmy Awards as the terrifying tracksuit-wearing track coach Sue Sylvester on the cultural phenomenon Glee. Her vast, highly versatile career has seen her conquer Broadway in Annie and Funny Girl, win Emmys for hosting game shows like Hollywood Game Night, and shine in prestige comedies like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Only Murders in the Building. Dr. Linda Freeman endures because Jane Lynch made clinical sarcasm look breathtakingly sharp deadpan and hilariously expensive. The laughter track has faded, the velvet ropes of the Malibu clubs have been moved, and that famous beachfront living room has faded into television history. But Two and a Half Men never truly relinquishes its permanent syndication-fueled grip on global pop culture. Those bright, chaotic faces under the California sun were navigating a wild sitcom tightrope, turning old-school bachelor farce into a historic multi-billion-dollar television empire built on insults, heartbreak, and resilience. Some of the cast became permanent monuments of tabloid lore, some found peace far away from the cameras, and others proved that true artistic survival is finding a way to rewrite your own story after the broadcast ends. If this trip back to the beach house pulled you into the nostalgic madness of the 2000s, stay tuned for more then and now stories where the zip codes stay the same but the faces change forever.